Hello, beautiful souls. So, a lot's been going on right now collectively. There have been a lot of recent solar flares and geomagnetic storms across the globe. And as a result of that, we are experiencing some very strange phenomena as a collective consciousness. And I shared one of these types of experiences you might be having at this time on my Instagram account. Now, if you're not yet following me on Instagram, my account is at Magnetize Yourself, so you can follow me there. But in my recent post, I actually made that post very late at night where I was actually having trouble sleeping because of these solar flares and some of the intense flashes of energy. And I know many of you have been feeling this as well. But regardless, in that post, I spoke about how sometimes we can have an experience of, in a sense, crossing wires with alternate timelines. So I've spoken a lot on timelines in the past, but a timeline is essentially a trajectory of our life. You can think of it kind of like a life pathway, except it's all happening at the level of frequency. And our current in the moment vibration or frequency, depending on what word you use to describe it, determines what timeline we are aligning with. Once we align with a particular timeline, it naturally connects us with the unfolding of certain futuristic outcomes, connections, and experiences. So when we raise our vibration, we collapse out old timelines and rise to higher vibrational timelines. But even a timeline we collapse out technically still exists from an energetic perspective. And in a sense, it goes on to live its own life, even if we in our physical 3D reality are experiencing an entirely different timeline. And the thing about this timeline going on to live its own life without us in a sense, but not exactly, because a part of us is still there living out that timeline, living in that other dimension. You could think of there being this other version of you that is continuing to live on that other timeline. Now, of course, this can work in the other direction as well, because we can actually sense into higher vibrational timelines. And very often we do this through what we call daydreaming or visualization. When you are visualizing something, what's actually happening is you are psychically seeing through your third eye into a potential timeline where that dream, goal, desire, whatever it is for you, is actually a reality. And by visualizing that timeline, you're practicing the vibration of it, which naturally expands your own vibration and allows you to align more with that higher vibrational timeline. And as you connect more into that timeline consistently, you'll eventually lock it in and ultimately manifest that goal, dream, desire, outcome, etc. So, of course, we can use timelines to manifest in our lives. But what I'm talking about here in this video is the way in which many of us collectively have been feeling the pull of past timelines, or not even necessarily past, but simultaneous timelines where we made certain choices or decisions, but I'm hearing to disempower ourselves. So, of course, if you are aligning with this reading, you are in a very empowered stance. You are aligned with a very high vibrational timeline, and you are actually continuously aligning with higher and higher timelines, which, by the way, means that you might find it difficult at times to be connecting with people long term, because in order for someone to connect with you in the long term, they are going to have to be willing to shift along with you into timeline after timeline. So from more of a human perspective, to put that into more physical 3D terms, for someone to remain in your life consistently, they are going to have to be willing to consistently and continuously be working on themselves, evolving themselves, expanding themselves. If they choose to stay stuck in a lower vibrational place, eventually you are going to be vibrating out of their life if someone isn't willing to be on that path of continuous self-development and expansion. So what I was getting at here is that you are most likely feeling the pull of certain timelines that you chose to collapse out for a reason, that you actually outgrew vibrationally. But there's an aspect of yourself that continued to live out that timeline. And you can feel a sense of grief or longing when you are attuned to that aspect of yourself that did choose to remain on that lower vibrational timeline. The general theme that I've been sensing is that for many in the collective, you are having this experience of longing for a person, a place, a thing, a connection that you know you outgrew for a reason, that you chose to walk away from because you empowered yourself, because you expanded yourself. However, it's almost like that timeline is pulling on you. Now, what I'm getting is that there is this very complex dynamic coming up where you are not desiring necessarily to reconnect with that person or with that timeline, and yet there's still the feeling of pull. There's still the feeling of longing, of, I'm hearing wishing things could have been different, or replaying past instances with a person or a connection and wondering if you could have done something differently in that connection or with that person to keep them in your life. And a message is coming through really strongly that if you've been disconnected from a certain person, it happened for a reason, and it couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. I'm going to repeat that because it felt like some kind of an activation for someone. It couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't. Free yourself from the cycling through the past, because I'm seeing almost like this maze, and someone is being led through this maze, and I do feel it has to do with some of the solar flares we've been experiencing recently. I'm hearing somehow these solar flares or geomagnetic storms are causing timelines to cross or wires to cross, where you might feel triggered by a conversation, a memory, an interaction, something that triggers you to cross wires with a timeline that is actually of a lower vibration, but that you can still feel a connection to, because there is an aspect of yourself that never left that timeline, that continued to live it out. Now, I am getting an interesting message coming through about those aspects of yourself that get left on different timelines, because maybe the reason you are sensing these aspects of yourself on these lower vibrational timelines is because you are meant to be retrieving those aspects and refragmenting yourself or putting your soul back together by mentally, I'm hearing, not literally going back to the person or literally going back into the thing physically, but going back into it energetically in the mind, not for the purpose of running through the maze, running those circles, cycling through the past, feeling regrets. I'm hearing regret is the least productive emotion that you could feel at this time around this subject, because it is you questioning the choices your past self made, that you made for a reason. And again, I feel that regardless of what choices you may have consciously made, there was a divine higher guidance at play that disconnected you from that timeline or from those people or from that connection, whatever it is for you, because it may be different from person to person, but it happened for a reason. But I'm hearing you left something there. So maybe you're being sent back mentally or emotionally. You're crossing wires with some of these. You could think of them as past timelines that you may have been on in the past, but then continued to take on that life of their own as you rose above them. But it's almost like you left something there. I'm hearing lost and found. It's almost like there is an aspect of you that needs to be retrieved from that timeline. And I'm seeing like a puzzle with pieces missing, like that piece needs to be put back in to your puzzle to refragment yourself. I'm hearing everything happens for a reason, even when you find yourself in that mental maze, going back energetically and mentally into those past timelines. You might beat yourself up about it, about even cycling back through the past. Why am I still feeling this pull? Why am I still feeling this longing? Why am I still cycling through mentally? But there's even a reason for all of that that's taking place mentally, because again, I feel that you're being pushed back into that energy. Again, not into the literal physical reality of that timeline, but into the energy of it, the essence of it, for the purpose of retrieving something that you left there. Now, I know we're speaking at kind of this high level here, but I also feel if this message is for you, you will know how it connects with you. Now, I will say, for most of you listening, I feel that the longing you're feeling, the pull that you're feeling towards that lower vibrational timeline is somehow related to a person. So some kind of connection. For many of you, this may have been a love connection that you left on that timeline. I'm hearing you improved yourself, but they weren't willing to rise with you, and in fact, may have tried to keep pulling you down. Maybe not consciously. They may have been doing this subconsciously because they weren't ready to heal, and you were. I'm hearing victimhood. So this person may have had patterns or cycles of victimhood, and I'm hearing the villain of their story. So maybe you turned into the villain of their story, or they villainized you in some way. And being misunderstood in this way, whether it was platonic or romantic, even though it's something that happened in the past, somehow it's still lingering in your mind. It's still affecting you. Now, I am hearing part of why it's still affecting you. Yes, there is that timeline with this person where you continue to play out these lower vibrational patterns, but we're more physically 3D connected. So part of the pull is that you're feeling that timeline that took on that life of its own. But another aspect of the feeling of pull is I'm getting this person actually has been thinking about you or sending you some kind of energy. I'm hearing you're feeling them continue to villainize you or misunderstand you or paint you out to be something that you're not, either when they talk about you to other people or maybe within their own mind. And it's almost like part of what you're feeling is because you're intuitive, you're sensing that they're misunderstanding you or maybe speaking about you to others in a way that is painting you differently than you actually are. And maybe there's a part of you that wants to go back and explain yourself or justify why you left or why you changed or why you made certain decisions. But I'm hearing that you don't have anything to prove. And because this does seem to be a connection coming up, I would really recommend my subliminal to release soul ties, because I am getting there's some kind of lingering soul tie with this person. Now, I do have an entire video on soul ties versus soulmate connections and twin flame connections, because these different dynamics often get confused. But a soul tie is essentially when there is an energy exchange, a habitual energy exchange that takes on a sort of groove or pattern energetically. It's like you become accustomed to flowing energy in a certain way with a certain person. And so because human beings are very habitual by nature, we are driven by our habits and our patterns. When we have these habits of flowing energy with a certain person mentally and emotionally, just because we physically stop interacting with them or physically stop communicating with them doesn't mean we stop the habit of sending each other energy. And it can often go back and forth because they'll be sending us energy. We'll pick up on it empathically, which amplifies our feelings and energy sent towards them. And it kind of goes on and on that way. So it can become very unwanted and what we might consider mentally and emotionally detrimental to us. So releasing soul ties is a powerful way to essentially bless that other person on their way while releasing the unhealthy aspects of the connection, kind of pruning that connection of any dynamics that have become unwanted or detrimental to you and really to the both of you in that situation. So my subliminal for releasing soul ties is designed to clear out those habits of thought and flowing energy with another person that could be unwanted or detrimental. It's designed to help you feel more clear and empowered and focused and positive within your own energy while clearing out any way that that other person's energy has been affecting you. And subliminals work by shifting what's happening in the subconscious mind, which is what makes them so powerful, because it's actually the subconscious that controls 95% of our thoughts, and therefore our subconscious is really the driver of our entire mind and our entire energy field, because of course the energy field is a reflection of the mind. So I personally started using subliminals several years ago and started seeing the most powerful and effective results in all areas of my life. So I became so passionate about them that I started creating my own subliminals, which I am now sharing through my recently launched app, Sound and Soulful. So as you can see on the screen, I am just showing you a little bit about the app. I have over 130 subliminals in this app for essentially every area of life, for money, fame, success, love, relationships, appearance, mood, mindset, for manifesting specific things, and so much more. And when you sign up for a 7-day free trial account in the app, you get access to all the subliminals I've created in 10 different background sound options. You can combine them to create your own custom private playlists, and you can even read the affirmations while you are listening. So the subliminal, again, that I would most highly recommend for this reading, if you are resonating with the reading, is for releasing soul ties. And you might even begin to notice a clearing effect, a lifting of that heavy energy, even just within one 20-minute listen. The tracks are 20 minutes long, although of course I do recommend listening consistently for 21 days for best results, because that is the time period that research has shown it takes to form a new habit, and in this case, a new habit of thinking or flowing energy. But I often notice that I can actually feel those positive shifts within the very first listen. So if you do want to give this subliminal a try and reprogram your own subconscious mind to clear your energy and manifest more quickly in your life, the link to download my app is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. Now, I know that we haven't really been pulling tarot cards in this reading or video, I guess we could call it. But I did actually have two cards that I wanted to share because I feel this represents your energy, and it's important to talk about what's happening in your aura, your energy, because there are a lot of external energies that seem to affect you. And I'm getting very strong messages about the importance, especially at this time, of really distinguishing what is yours and what is coming from someone or something else, because you might be feeling, as I said in a recent video, a heightened level of sensitivity to global energies, to societal energies, community energies, and even other specific individuals. So these two cards are the Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. Because the Queen of Pentacles represents, regardless of whether you are more so feeling in your feminine or masculine at this time, because of course we have a balance of both internally, I'm getting that you are in this very abundant state of being. I'm hearing you are stable, you are thriving, you are abundant. This is your nature. And if you are feeling any kind of pull in a different direction, even thoughts you might have that creep up that might be self-doubting, these can actually all be caused by external energies and influences, such as these lower vibrational timelines that might be pulling on you. But know that it is coming externally. This is not your natural energetic state, because again, you've aligned with a very high vibrational timeline, and that high vibration is your natural state of being. We also have the Ace of Swords. So this is about some kind of mental clarity or breakthrough happening. And I'm hearing focus on the vision, and your focus will naturally create an energetic boundary. When you are focused on something you are creating, doing, embodying, whatever this is for you, that level of focus, that intensity of focus can actually naturally become this energetic wall, because it excludes everything that is not in alignment with that focused vision. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading here. Do let me know in the comments how you've been feeling today and if anything is resonating with you personally. Also, you can subscribe to the channel if you do feel a resonance here. I have a feeling we will be posting more reading videos that are very much in tandem with this one. So if you are feeling an alignment here, I do recommend subscribing and turning on the notifications so YouTube notifies you when I post new content. As I said earlier, you can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, and you might specifically find my most recent post to be beneficial for you, since I am discussing more about this dynamic of feeling pulled by alternate timelines. And if you do feel guided to incorporate my Releasing Soul Ties subliminal into your daily routine to really assist you in remaining grounded during this energetically intense time, the link to download my Subliminals app is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. Otherwise, I am sending you all so much love and light today. Have a beautiful remainder of your day, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.